Hey, what's up, everybody? It is a Tuesday morning here in the Findlay Hyundai Studios. It is the drive coming out of the, what are we on? Brigham Road Studios.
Yes.
We are here in the STG coming at you 99.5, 95.3 in St. George, 99.9 HD. I know Paulie's got one of those new whips with the HD channels in his car, so he pots us up on HD on 99.9. Of course, coming at you in Cedar 93.1 or 1400 in Parowan. I'm Devin. He's Paulie. TA's pushing the buttons. We are locked. We are loaded. It's terrific to have you in on a Tuesday. I feel like we got a good show on tap, Paulie.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we have the report that it did not take long for Cincinnati to pluck Jared Calhoun from the Utah State Aggies. We're going to dive into that. We're going to do, I want to do a re-rank of the 16 teams remaining in March Madness. Also, Paulie wants to do a little contender-pretender bit today and get into some March Madness on that topic as well. Coach's angle, we're going to look at it from player angle, every angle getting closer to games resuming on Thursday night. And we do have one very special guest joining us today. It'll be right at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, so 1 hour from right now. Andrew May will join us on the show. And some of you might be like, hey, Devin, who's Andrew May? Andrew May was a longtime coach. He was a grad assistant at BYU. He was also a stint with John Judkins here at Utah Tech. A couple years ago, left Utah Tech, took the Snow College job when Coach Nielsen resigned, and he has been incredible at Snow College, the number one overall seed last year, but an early ending in Hutchinson, Kansas. They are the 9 seed this year. They didn't get the 1 seed, even though they've been ranked number 1 all season long. And they didn't get the number 1 seed because they didn't win the conference tournament. So they're the 9 seed this year. And they will play today at 11 o'clock. They already won their first game against Trinity on Sunday. So Andrew May, Snow College coach, is going to join us live from Hutch. Some of our longtime listeners probably remember Hutchinson, Kansas. I remember calling the Snow-Dixie game in, I think it was 2001 or 2002 when John Judkins was the coach at Snow College. I was a student doing the broadcasting down at the university on CEC, and down goes Snow in a storm. Utah Tech now, then Dixie goes to Hutch. And I mean, there's been some good battles. And so all of our older rivals will remember the Croshaw days when they would battle Snow, and he'd call them turkey farmers and get a rise out of everybody up in Ephraim. And so Andrew, good friend of the show, he's going to join us live. He'll join us on the live Zoom. So if you're watching the show this morning on YouTube, you'll be able to catch up and hear and see Coach Andrew May. So I'm kind of fired up about that because they play again on ESPN Plus today against Butler. And if anybody knows anything about Butler Community College, they're kind of a powerhouse out there in Kansas, and they're basically going to have a home game. They're one of the schools right by Hutchinson, Kansas. Wow. So not far to drive over to that venue for them. So big order, early game today, and we'll get a preview with Andrew. So I'm fired up about that. Sean Feltz is on that team, former Crimson Cliffs Mustang. Kyle Lemke, former Dixie Flyer, on that team. And obviously, Jordy Roberts was on that team, got injured, shut down for the season. And so he's not going to be playing today. But really good team. We'll see how far they can go in the championship. So we're loaded today on the drive. But I want to start first with not the best thing I saw, probably the worst thing that I saw in sports pertaining to Utah State Aggie fans, but you kind of prepped yourself. You kind of felt it was coming. You kind of knew it was inevitable when some of the big pundits are, putting posts out on social media saying it's all but done. He's alumni of Cincinnati. Jared Calhoun just a couple days removed from the season ending for Utah State, at least has the framework of a deal worked out and has notified Utah State brass that he will be leaving. There's a $3.9 million part of his contract that will go back to the school that he will not get per his contract, that they'll be able to use for the next coach, for an NIL fund, for whatever the case might be. But Paulie, Calhoun out now that it sounds official. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. This is a guy that graduated from UC. He was a student assistant under Bob Huggins when Huggins had great teams at Cincinnati for years and years. He was a part of the magical times with Kmart, Kenyon Martin, and they had some amazing teams at Cincinnati. So he then works for West Virginia as the director of basketball ops under Huggins for years. So all East Coast jobs. So he's been an East Coast guy, goes to Youngstown State, another school in Ohio, coaches there, has good success. Then he's plucked. And I think everybody didn't really know who Jared Calhoun was. Coming from Youngstown State, it's a small school, the Penguins, not a powerhouse by any means. But then he comes to Utah State, who will now be searching for their fifth coach in 7 years. I think that this is a problem, that to be able to, it's a huge coup by the athletic department that's been able to over and over and over hire the next big up-and-comer. I mean, you talk about Ryan Odom. He went from UMBC to Utah State to VCU. Now he had UVA as a 3 seed. I know they just lost, but that's a success story. Sprinkle, I don't really know that he's going to be a great success. Craig Smith, not a great success.
Not yet.
At Utah.
Not yet.
Like, I don't believe in Sprinkle having success at Washington, but we can get into that at another time. I don't think Washington was a great spot, but this one makes sense for Calhoun. He went there, he coached there, he knows the area, the recruiting ground's going to be fertile for him. I'm sure he's got tons of connections back east.
Wait a minute. Danny Sprinkle, who's from Montana, takes a job on the West Coast. He's a West Coast
Cincinnati's
guy.
Won
he
before.
goes to UW.
Washington,
he takes a big paycheck, and he never will have success there.
We'll see. What was his record this year?
Will at Cincinnati because he's an East Coast guy? Where's the bias in this?
He went there, coached there, and play. Did he play there too under Huggins?
They both had success at Utah State.
That's right. I'd say Calhoun had more success than Sprinkle did.
Really?
Yes. Won the Mountain West regular season and tournament title this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting old. It's getting old having Utah State lose coaches. There's no questions. I mean, 55-15 was Calhoun's record in 2 years at Utah State. I just argue this is the worst one they lost. He's better than Sprinkle, better than Smith, better than Odom, better than all those guys. I think this was the one that hurts the most for Utah State is my main point. I think Sprinkle jumped at a bad job. You love him because he turned down West Virginia, or do you despise him because he turned down West Virginia?
Don't mind it at all. I think he did what he should have done last year. There wasn't a great job.
Would you have preferred Ross Hodge over Jared Calhoun?
I don't mind Hodge. I think he's going to do fine in a couple years, but I think Calhoun's a better coach than Hodge. Yeah, I would have taken Hodge or Calhoun at West Virginia, but he didn't want to go.
I wonder how much of it came down to the Pac-12 move versus going to the Big 12. Versus seeing the resources that Cincinnati can throw at him and seeing what he had to work with. I mean, look, it was documented. He said the other day they went from $800,000 in NIL to $2.2 million. For Utah State to spend $2.2 million on a roster, it got them a win in the NCAA tournament and a Mountain West Conference championship game.
That's right.
But maybe he didn't want to go to the Pac-12? He's that much East Coast biased? I don't know. That's all I'm hearing from you. You love him.
Not East Coast biased. He went to school there.
I know.
That's not the East Coast bias.
Well, you
That's
brought it
home.
up, not me. You said he's been an East Coast guy his
whole
life.
These are all facts.
But he's not been an East Coast guy his whole life.
These
He's
are
been 2
all
years
facts.
in Logan.
These
Doesn't
are
that
all
change
facts.
things?
He was born there, went to school there, graduated from there, coached there. I mean, all his roots are there. Am I wrong or am I wrong? Am I right? Right. Where am I?
I don't think it has as much to do with East Coast as you're alluding to. I think it has more to do with conference and NIL and resources. That's the college basketball we live in.
Yeah. All right. I think it's got a ton to do with going back home.
You think his wife said, "Oh, I really miss back there, some fond memories." Like she thinks she's pushing the strings to go back there. You don't know his wife. You don't talk to his wife.
I don't know his wife. I just know if I was a coach and West Virginia offered me and I can go back to my alma mater, I'm going. That's the highest honor. To win at your alma mater is the greatest success as a coach. You're giving back to the community that gave you your coaching start. So I'm all about this move for him. I know it hurts Utah State and it sucks for the Aggies, but they should be used to this by now. They need to ante up a little more money like they did the last year to keep him. But I think the next coach they hire, if he has success like Calhoun did in year one, you gotta empty the war chest to keep him, because it seems as every up and coming coach wants out of Logan. It's not just Calhoun. So every up and comer that's been there the last 7 years has left.
I mean, they have. You're not wrong. That's the facts, as you just said so kindly earlier. But the fact remains that this is getting old. This is getting really, really, really hard for Utah State to keep finding the next big name.
Yeah.
And the hot names are already flying around. Utah Valley's coach, Coach Phillips, has been linked to the job. There's a lot of assistants that will probably apply. There's probably a lot of mid-major teams that are like, I'd love to go to the Pac-12.
Do you remember Jerry McNamara?
Yeah, going back to Syracuse.
Yeah. I mean, You think he wanted to stay at Siena just to stay there or go to another program? No, he went home. These guys go home. They want to help their alma maters. They don't care about Utah State. They want to go home and bring success to the school that brought them up.
It does make it easier, and it does make it more justifiable in today's era. And there is no more loyalty. There never was player loyalty. Now there's no coach loyalty.
This is loyalty to his alma mater. Yeah. He's going back to his alma mater.
That's the contract?
That's the epitome of loyalty.
What about the contract that people sign now? They're just null and void. They don't even matter.
Buyouts are a thing for a reason.
Yeah. Well, at least Utah State was smart and put a caveat. Hey, if you leave, you don't get this $3.9 million.
That's smart by Utah State.
Yeah, they've learned.
They've been stung before.
They've had guys just launch pad, use their format, their university as a launch pad in betterment of their career.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with that. I'm never going to criticize a guy for taking, in his eyes, what's a better job or a better paying job.
I don't think Calhoun leaves this job, so I think this is the end for him. His alma mater.
I will never say never.
Okay,
I will not go 0 to 60 in Tara's plaid like you just went to that. No way.
I don't think he's going to move off this spot.
How can you say that?
Because it's his alma mater.
Especially after you thought he wasn't going to leave Logan to begin with.
I didn't think he'd leave for Kansas State. I think he'd leave for.
Specify that.
Okay, I didn't specify. Maybe I didn't specify.
That's a far reach, because how old is Jared Calhoun?
He's in his 50s.
Yeah, I mean, is he really 50?
Yeah,
he doesn't seem that old to me.
Let me look. I'm pretty sure he's in his 50s.
He was a grad assistant in 2003, so he had to have been relatively young. 25 years later, 24 years later, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like 48,
45,
47.
5 years. I shot him wrong.
Oh, wow.
Oh, imagine that, Paul.
Don't you add 5 years plus to his age?
That's
Come
dirty.
on.
You're doing him dirty now.
I did it wrong. He looks older than 45.
Oh, that's even worse. That's so mean.
He's leaving the Beehive State.
What do you mean? He's got more hair than you, and he's older than you. What are you talking about? He looks older than 45.
I mean, he looks a little older than 45.
That's because he's an East Coast guy.
Yeah, that's right. That East Coast energy.
Living over their ages, yeah. On
Yeah,
the other side.
Look, there's a whole story about the journey that got Jared Calhoun to Utah State. There's the remarkable stories about keeping Mayor Faltzlev in Logan and betting on MJ Collins Jr. and betting on Drake Allen, who'd played for about every school in the state of Utah before landing at Utah State. 55-15 in 2 seasons is not a fluke. I mean, to come in your first 2 years and go 55 wins and 15 losses. Holy Smith. I mean, Craig Smith, when he left for Utah to take the Utes job in 2000, and I think it was 2001, he went 65-62 in 4 seasons with the Utes. I mean, he thought he was going to greener pastures, but that ended up, he was 3 games above 500 and they got fired in 2025. So Danny Sprinkle, since leaving and going to Washington, after he went 27 wins at Utah State with 5 losses. That was Danny Sprinkle's record in one season.
I'm sure he's getting chewed up at Washington.
In 2 seasons, he's 29 wins and 35 losses in the Big Ten. That's a conference jump.
Yeah,
and he's got some more resources out there. That's not considered a basketball
Big
school.
Ten record, because a lot of those wins are non-conference against cupcakes. Those 29 wins. What was his Big Ten record this year?
You'd have to look it up. You're asking a question that I'm not prepared to answer.
All right.
I'm just telling you his record when he left Utah State. My point in this is not to get lost in the weeds as you're trying to make me do. My point on this is it's not a lock that Jared Calhoun goes to Cincinnati and wins 30 games in the first season.
No,
that's not really realistic.
It's the hardest league in America.
Yeah. So, I know, but that's why he wants to go there, right?
Because he can be a 10th place team like BYU and still be a 6th seed. He goes first place in the Mountain West. He gets a 9 seed.
I think
the ceiling
I don't think that had as much to do with it. I'm sure there's frustration there. I'm sure that adds fuel to the fire on the reasoning. But I do think you're on to the whole alumni, the pride in the university, giving back. I believe that more than I do the other stuff is why he took this job.
Well, he obviously was okay with the other stuff to stay another year.
Yeah.
So I think it took a special job, like I'm saying.
Not West Virginia, a special job.
Yeah, it wasn't West Virginia.
Yeah,
but he coached there. He coached with Huggins for 5 years there, but it wasn't good enough of a job for him to take. So this is a special job. He wanted to give back to his alma mater. He's going to be the first coach alumnus to coach at Cincinnati since 1989. So it's a homecoming that they all wanted. They wanted this guy. They paid big. Apparently, Cincinnati's going to up their NIL budget.
Yeah,
what'd you say?
About $10 million is what Calhoun's expecting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that'll put him right in the middle of the Big 12 as far as the NIL spending for the Bearcats, which I'm not sure Wes Miller had that support. But now they've got one of their own. You know, they've got a guy coming home to finish the project of bringing back Cincinnati basketball to realistically its heights it was in the Huggins era, you know, going to Final Fours, going to Sweet 16s. Like, that's what Jared Calhoun wants, and I think that he doesn't think he can accomplish that at Utah State. So he's going home.
This Utah State vacancy has to be pretty appealing, though, for a lot of coaches still.
Yes.
I mean, when you look at Craig Smith, Danny Sprinkle, you know, Ryan Odom, and Jared Calhoun, plus the legend Stu Morrill, this has been a really good spot for coaches to land that have had a lot of success, from the bowl sheet to the campus to the Spectrum, the packed crowds. Like, you're a celebrity. It's still a smaller market.
Yes.
You know, Cache Valley's the same size as St. George virtually. It's a real similar sized market. It's a small to medium sized market at best. And so you are going there, and you are expected to go to the NCAA tournament. You're expected to win your conference. Now, that's all changing with the Pac-12, but this is still a very desirable job, especially when you figure they went from 2.2 and now they have 3.9 million that Utah State can actually spend in additional NIL money to bring in, you know, some new fresh players next year and maybe make a big splash in the Pac-12.
Maybe so.
Obviously, they're going to have to deal with Gonzaga now.
Yeah.
And other good teams that have joined the Pac-12, but it's certainly not going to be the caliber conference of the Big 12.
That's right. It's going to be a different conference, and it's going to be probably a stronger than the Mountain West, obviously, with a few other Pac-12 insurgents. But I think that Calhoun made the right move for him. It's just terrible for Utah State that they're going through this again, 5th time in 7 years. But I think this was the best one that got away, to be honest with you. I really do, because I just checked Sprinkle. He's 11-29 in 2 years in the Big Ten. He's awful. So just like I thought, the Washington job is not one you take. It's just not a good basketball job. I just didn't ever understand that. Calhoun waited for the right job. I get it, but he's
No,
going to
you
get
don't
blown
get it
out.
because you
He's
just
gonna
said
get
you don't
blown
understand
out.
it. But did you remember how much Danny Sprinkle got paid?
I get it, but he's going to get fired in the third year if he goes a terrible record again.
But he's making double the money, so he can make twice as much at Washington, even triple what he was making at Utah State in a shorter amount of time. He doesn't have to work as long. He can buy whatever ranch in Montana he wants and retire when he's done with this job if he doesn't want to keep coaching.
He's going to be back down at a Mountain West level school again after
he gave it a shot.
Out.
He gave it a shot. He tried to rebuild a non-basketball school.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to discount a guy for taking a stab at making more money and trying to build a team that's not
Calhoun made the right move. Sprinkle just jumped at the big money.
No, you said it was a terrible move.
Job. He didn't wait for the right job. Calhoun did.
Yeah, I mean, you wait around too long and you don't be proactive, you can get passed up.
Maybe. I don't know. I think he made the wrong move. Calhoun, right move. Smith, wrong move. Odom, right move. Like, some of these guys made the right moves and left Utah State for greener pastures, but others probably wish they were still there. Craig Smith.
Look, I mean, Cincinnati, I'll give them credit. They moved quickly after firing Wes Miller.
Yes.
They fired him. They moved quickly. He was officially dismissed just last Friday, and Calhoun was quickly the guy's top target. Like, I don't even think they did an interview with anybody else, Paulie. They wanted Jared Calhoun. The athletic director of Cincinnati is a guy named John Cunningham. And, he played his cards, bringing the hometown kid home. I mean, The boosters, the alumni obviously had the support. He had a number in mind. Now, the framework, we haven't seen that as far as the contract goes. There's the NIL number that's been floating around.
Yeah.
Calhoun has deep ties to Bob Huggins. That's why you love him so much.
Yeah.
You always loved Huggy Bear.
I did like Huggy.
He was your guy.
Yeah, he was until the end. But
yeah. Calhoun is 297 wins, 159 losses. That is his career record. 297 and 157. That is not necessarily dazzling, but what he did in 2 years at Utah State certainly is.
Yes.
Had some stops at some D2s, Fairmont State, Youngstown State. So that was the head coaching record. Still, he's 3 wins away from 300. Yeah. Which is a nice little milestone.
Solid, for sure.
Yeah. Not all the fanfare from Cincinnati fans is lovey-dovey, though. Some people are saying they're glad Miller is gone, but they're not happy with the Cunningham, the AD out there at Cincinnati. I think this might be like a save his job type of hire, too. And, I will say this, you got to be pretty mentally tough to be a coach nowadays, don't you? You got to have real thick skin. You got to be pretty tough. You got to be pretty witty. You got to move quickly. You got to be a heck of a recruiter. You've got to win over and re-recruit your team all over. Plus, you got to have all the X's and O's. Plus, you got to have a really good staff.
Yeah.
And then you got to win the campus over and get the fanfare of the community. So there's a lot of things to go into coaching. Coaching is not a clipboard and then you're in the huddle just drawing up plays anymore.
No.
It is an all-encompassing job.
That's right.
And Calhoun feels like he's ready to take on Cincinnati.
Yep. He's ready, and he's gone.
And Utah State fans are left scratching their head yet again, going through another offseason hiring cycle. It'll be really interesting to see how quickly they can move and who they tab as their next head coach. This is a big transition going from the Mountain West Conference to the Pac-12, and a lot of other Mountain West teams are going with them.
I mean, players and coaches in college, it's a food chain. The bigger fish are always going to eat the smaller fish.
And it's a relationship game.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. I mean, this is a relationship hire because he was at the university and was a grad assistant and alumni there.
Yeah. But the bigger fish came last year and weren't able to eat Utah State. They swam away, found a nice spot to hide. But this one was a shark, with all the connections to him, his grad, obviously an alumnus. He coached there for years. His first coaching job ever as a grad assistant was there. It's just too hard to say no, I think.
All right, we're off and running. Good luck to Jared Calhoun, and even better luck to the Utah State Aggies brass in trying to tab their next head coach.
It's looking like Todd Phillips is a lead candidate.
Well, I mean,
UVU.
he's done a great job the last couple seasons at Utah Valley.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great name to keep an eye on.
And he's a Utah guy, so maybe that would be more of a destination job.
Wouldn't have to worry about the East Coast bias, right, buddy?
Hey, I have said for years that if Utah State wants to get a coach that would stay, they should have looked at John Judkins.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to lose Juddy here in St. George because I love Juddy. But he's a grad there. He played there. He's alumni, and he's a Utah guy. Like that would be the dream job, as you say. And Juddy wouldn't be looking to take that next step. He would go coach there for 5-10 seasons and then retire.
Yes,
and leave the program off to somebody else.
Correct.
And so they keep going out and plucking up these young up and coming coaches that are taking the job, but they're just using it as a stepping stone, as a catapult for their career, which is, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But then you got to go through this hiring process all over again and hope you don't strike out. It's amazing how well they have hired, though. Is Utah State hired better than any other mid-major in the country?
Their athletic department deserves hats off because they've found 5 good coaches over 7 years. So good for them.
But you didn't say they've hired better than any other mid-major in the country. That's the question I'm posing.
Oh, well, I haven't studied all the other mid-majors, so.
Yeah.
But as far as here,
I can't think of another school that's been rated like Utah State in the last 10 years.
Probably not. VCU had some coaches
Maybe
taken.
VCU could be in that conversation.
Odom, Shaka Smart, some other names.
Yeah, they've gotten rated.
They have gotten taken from as well.
And they still won a game in the tournament this year, too.
And that guy there just signed a long-term deal to stay at VCU, Martelli or whatever his name is. I think it's Martelli. Yeah, I think he's going to be there for like 6 years. So some coaches loyal, but some coaches looking to make the next step. Obviously, Calhoun wanted to make the next step.
6 years is the reported contract length they're giving him.
He's got
6 years.
Good term.
So he's not going anywhere quick. At least that's the plan.
That's right.
Plan's subject to change. Does Utah State interview Wes Miller after he got axed to Cincinnati? You want to do a little flip-flop here?
He got hired by Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte already hired him.
Yes.
I knew somebody would scoop him up. All right, we got to take a break. We're off and running. Poor Utah State. Good luck with the hire. We'll keep an eye on this. It'll be really interesting to see if Phillips does stay as the lead candidate and if he gets that job, because then another in-state institution switching conferences is going to be right back in the same place looking to hire somebody as well. It's a vicious cycle, is it not? We are off and running. Let's get into some tourney talk when we come back. And oh my goodness, we're going to get revved up here on the drive. Glad you're with us here from the Finley Hyundai studio till the end of the month. You still got a week till the end of March to go out there if you're in the need of new wheels for you, for your wife, for one of your kids, for your husband. You can go to Finley Hyundai, get 0% interest and deferred payments for 90 days. That means you make no payments for 3 months and 0% interest. Oh, my goodness. Go check out the Santa Fe or the Tucson. They both have those deals going on right now during their anniversary sale at Finley Hyundai off exit 13. We're back in a flash. Welcome back, everybody. It is The Drive, brought to you this morning by Coral Canyon Golf Course. It's fantastic. Get out and swing the sticks at Coral Canyon Golf Course. You can play great golf for a great price. They do dynamic pricing. It's peak season, so a lot of people getting out of the cold and wanting to come play golf. While we got our spring golf season here. Temperatures in the 80s today. It should be a beautiful day to get out and swing the sticks. You want to plan ahead as best you can for tee times. You can call the Pro Shop 435-688-1700. That's 435-688-1700. Or you can book your tee times at coralcanyongolf.com. Devin, Paulie, Tara, let's do some contender pretender, and we've got it broken down. I don't know that I have 8 contenders, and I don't know that I have 8 pretenders. I almost feel like there's a middle tier, but we're for the sake of this segment, we're going to decipher some of those teams that are real legit contenders. I contended before the NCAA tournament started that there was 10 or 12 teams that can win a championship. Now that you're down to 16, really only one of those teams that I would assume, the Florida Gators, Paulie's championship pick, is the only contender that has been knocked out.
There was a pretender.
It was.
They were a pretender looking like a contender.
That's right. They were a pretender masked. All right, contender masked as a pretender. But now it's time to identify which of these lower seeded teams can make a run in the next rounds. I'm going to start here hot and fast. This is a team I've been talking about the last couple months. Is St. John's, the Johnnies, the 5 seed playing Duke, the 1 seed in their region. Current spread on that game is tighter than most would believe. It's only 6.5. As Duke, a 1 seed, 34-2 against St. John's, the champions of the Big East, 30-6, fresh off their 2-point thrilling win over Kansas. Contender, pretender, do you buy St. John's to upset Duke in advance?
Sure, I buy him to upset Duke.
All right.
I buy him to upset Duke because Duke did not exactly dazzle in their first 2 round games.
Yes.
I do see it contender to beat a 1 seed, which if you can beat a 1 seed,
you're alive.
You're alive and you got a shot at the title. Do I really believe... Am I pushing hard for the Johnnies? Do I think they're going to win it all? No. I know they have a star in Zuby Ejiofor. I know the shooting consistency is still an issue, but they got a legendary coach in Rick Pitino, who punched his first ticket to a Sweet 16 in 1987, and now he's doing it again in 2026. And so, yes, I would lean contender on the Red Storm. Now, there's 4 or 5 teams that I think are stronger contenders than St. John's, maybe even 6.
This is just to pull the upset in the Sweet 16. You know, contenders to win this.
Well, I look
game.
at it like if you're a contender to beat a 1 seed in Duke, then you should be figured that you could at least make a run.
You can
and
swing
be a contender if things fall your way. I know a lot of things have to fall into place.
Yes,
and there's other teams I like a lot more to win the title.
Next round game would be the winner of UConn and Michigan State.
Correct.
For St. John's or Duke.
And there was nothing I would like more than Rick Pitino beating Dan Hurley.
It would be cool. It would be cool.
You want some cheese with your wine, Dan?
So, well, I'm going to say, Tara, what do you think? St. John's contender or pretender?
I think they could definitely upset Duke.
Okay, so saying
especially the way they've been playing. Yeah.
All right.
I say contender as well.
All right.
I'd like to see it because it'd knock a lot of people out of the bracket.
It would
hurt
a lot
of
of
Duke
brackets.
favorites to win it all. So, yeah.
Yes, it would eliminate a lot of the brackets. So you're hoping for the St. John's.
I think Duke was probably the second or third most picked to win the championship in most pools.
I would think so.
I think Arizona, Michigan slightly ahead of Duke, or Duke maybe slightly ahead of Michigan. I think Arizona was the most picked though, for obvious reason. They just passed the eyeball test. But I think St. John's. I think everybody in agreeance contender. Ding ding ding.
All right, everyone's on contender there. Let's go to the next one. This is a team that upset my champion. How about the Iowa Hawkeyes? Currently in the Sweet 16, their matchup is going to be against a 4 seed in the Big Ten, a team they've already played before, Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. So right now, current spread, Nebraska favored by 1.5.
Wow.
So this is a really close number. This will be a Thursday night game from Houston in the Toyota Center. Do you think the Hawkeyes' dream run continues under new head coach from Drake, small college, making his first run here, Ben McCollum.
Look, good story, but they're not cutting down the nets.
I know, not content. I'm talking about just for this round.
Nebraska
Sweet 16.
yeah.
Can they beat Nebraska?
I don't think so. I think Hoiberg and the boys are dialed. I underestimated Nebraska a little bit. That's not a blue blood basketball program, but they love. I mean, did you see Oklahoma City? It was Lincoln moved to OKC for the weekend.
They got a fervent fan
Big
base.
Red was there in a big way, and they're going to travel again. I don't know that we've seen a fever pitch for Nebraska basketball like this in a long, long time. So Fred Hoiberg, why not? Why not their first deep run ever? They have an offense that can shoot the three, an offense that can stall and move the ball around and wait for that good shot.
Yeah.
This is a team, though, that I just don't. I don't know that either of these two teams are contenders for me, Paulie.
Okay.
Iowa is certainly, I know the question was Iowa. I will say pretender. I love what Ben McCollum is doing. I love Bennett Sturts. I don't mind their slow pace, but they have a small margin of error. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
All right. They beat the 8 seed Clemson and the 1 seed Florida on their way to this game.
If anybody picked this matchup in their Sweet 16 out of this region, kudos to you, because I missed on both legs here. I was way off.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everyone did for the most part. I'm going to say Iowa has one more win in them. I think they beat Nebraska and they make it to the Elite Eight, but I think that's where it ends.
They believe. They believe.
Yeah.
Ben McCollum's done a great job.
Great job. I think that Sturts is a stud. This Tavian Banks, they've got some players. So I think that Iowa will maybe win one more game. I will think I'll take them to win one more game against Nebraska. Tara, what do you think? Do you think that Iowa's got a shot as far as winning one more game?
I do. Yeah, they just beat the number 1 seed, Florida.
That's right. They got a big chance, I think, in this game. So
Iowa pulled off the most shocking win of the tournament so far. They knocked off the number 1 seed, Florida.
Yes.
They come into every game trying to play as slow as possible.
Yes.
And everything's in the half court. And Sturts is a gifted shot maker, Paul. Watching him against Florida, but he doesn't even come off the floor. He's barely touched the bench all year. And Flogaris is their stretch 4. He's the guy that hit that corner pocket 3 with 4.5 seconds left.
Yeah.
To propel them ahead by 1 against Florida. But if you remember that game, they led the entire way until about under 8 minutes in the second half when Florida kind of got a little cushion there. But Florida was playing their style. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Nebraska matches it up against the Hawkeyes in this matchup. This is actually, for one of the less sexy on paper, this actually is one of the more intriguing matchups when you really dig deep.
Should be a fun game.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one here. This is the one that I'm kind of feeling could do it. The Storm may be coming. The Arkansas Razorbacks against the Arizona Wildcats. It currently sits at a 7.5 point number favoring Arizona. And a lot of people don't want to believe it because they picked Arizona to win their championship in their bracket. They don't want to see Arizona go down. But I'm here to tell you that Arizona could lose to Arkansas. They've got the player that's playing the best basketball in the country right now.
You already said, well, now you're backing off your stance. Yesterday, you said they will upset Arizona. Now you're saying they could? That's
I'm taking them to do it. I'm taking them to do it.
Have you softened overnight? Did you sleep?
No.
Did you sleep? Did you have some bad meat last night? Are you feeling okay?
Nope, I'm fine.
Tara, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like Arizona's going
gonna
down.
lose.
They're going to lose, and now it's like Arkansas could sneak it out with Musselman.
They're going to do
He
it.
rethought that in his bubble bath.
It's not Musselman. It's Calipari.
Or Calipari, where that stupid coach is.
Yeah, so
they do have Darius A. Cuff.
Yes.
And I do like this young man's game. I will give you that.
He had 36
young team
in the last game.
They're young. They're young. They seem volatile. There's one thing about Calipari. His teams seem like explodable. Like they can be so great, but then they could get on each other and just everybody could just fall apart. Like Arizona could make a team fall apart. I say I want to say contender, but my brain tells me pretender because Arizona is just too stacked.
All right.
Exactly, yeah.
You're doubling down on what he says.
On pretender, absolutely. Yeah, they have Acuff, but that's one player.
I will not.
Look at how great DeBonza did leading, BYU. They still lost. He's a great player. He'll be like the number one pick, and Acuff will probably go 3, but
Arkansas has a better supporting cast than BYU.
That's true,
At this point
but
in the
it's
season.
not comparable to
They do.
Arizona.
They got 3 guys that average virtually over 20 points per game.
Right.
But they will struggle, I think, in the post with Awaka and Kredas. What's his name?
Krivas.
Krivas,
They will. I think that the size of Burries, Bradley. I mean, Koa Pete's a beast inside.
He is.
I just think the overall depth is too strong for Arizona.
All right.
When I saw this draw, I didn't like this draw for Arkansas out of the jump. So why that this matchup is now happening? Will I change my tune?
Yeah.
When I've got Arizona winning it all, I know you don't.
Yes.
And you're following your bracket, which is already busted.
Yes.
And so we will agree to disagree on this one.
All right, last one here before we get to the break. How about Tennessee?
By the way, it's an 8-point line, so
Yes.
they are big underdogs in this
They're big
game.
underdogs.
For a 4-seed, 8-point line, that's a pretty big line.
It's fine. I'm not afraid. Not afraid of that line.
I thought this line should have been 5. After seeing Arkansas play, it's 8. What's that tell
Arkansas just got a scare against High Point, so people probably a little down on Arkansas, but it's just one bad game, and they got the best player on the court in that game, and I'll double down on that every
Flynn
single time.
Kamen almost beat you.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's go to the next one. How about the last one here? Tennessee. Do they have any shot as the 6th seed against Iowa State, the 2-seed Cyclones?
I believe in the Vols.
You didn't last round,
I
though.
did. I know.
You took UVA.
I know.
I was on
after
Tennessee.
watching him play and stuff, I think they can do it.
Okay, I like Tennessee. I think they got a shot to beat Iowa State, especially if Joshua Jefferson is on the shelf again. So their best player, I know they waded through the storm last round, but I think that it's got to be.
Waded through the storm.
They blew them out. I know. I understand. They beat Kentucky bad, but Kentucky was not very good this year.
And Tennessee is way more elite than...
I like Tennessee better than Kentucky.
Look, Iowa State is going to roll by 10 plus. Tennessee is a contender. Nice story. You got to the Sweet 16. I like Rick Barnes. They've got a mint, and they've got, what's the Gillespie kid? They're physical. Jacoby Gillespie. They slow games down. They win ugly. I mean, this is a good team. This is not a great team. Iowa State will roll. Tennessee is a pretender.
4.5 point spread. So you saying by 10, that's lofty.
Yep.
All right, we'll see. I like the Vols to cover and maybe win.
I do too.
I will hold that bet.
All right, you'll hold it. And we're going to hold till the next segment because that's all I got.
Oh my gosh, good stuff. I mean, the obvious ones we don't need to get into. We know, Duke and
Duke,
Houston and Arizona.
Houston,
even
Michigan,
Purdue, UConn with Hurley, they've won titles.
They could lose.
Michigan with
They
Dusty
could
May.
lose.
Yeah.
I think Michigan State could beat UConn.
Nate Oates in Alabama is an interesting one. Brad Underwood in Illinois, another interesting one. And then Tom Izzo in Michigan State. I think the 4 contenders are Bama, Illinois, Michigan State, and St. John's.
Yeah.
And then I think you've got the top dogs. That's what I think. Got to get to a break, Polly says. Good stuff. Fun to break it down. We'll talk more NCAA basketball. Not done. Again, we're going to be going out to the junior college national championships in Hutch in about 15 minutes with Andrew May, the Snow College head basketball coach. Got a couple Region 9 players on his team, so you don't want to miss that. That'll be right at 8 o'clock. You can watch him join us on the show. If you go to our YouTube page, you can go to the Fan Sports Network under live videos on YouTube, or you can put us on the mobile app or our website, or you could stay right here if you're listening over to the airwaves. It's always FREE free to listen to The Drive. We'll be back in a flash on a Tuesday morning. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is The Drive on the Fan Sports Network. Sincerely, thank you for waking up with us, hopping in your car, heading out to your Tuesday routine, whether you're going to work, dropping the kids off at school. Thanks for catching some local sports talk. Do stick around because here in about 10 minutes, Andrew May. I'm excited to talk to Coach May, current Snow College coach, former assistant here at Utah Tech under John Judkins. He's got them playing and hammering Trinidad on Sunday. How about the 27-12 for Big Sean Feltz?
That's big time.
Lemke had 12 points and some boards. So you got some Region 9 guys. They're out in Hutch at the National JUCO Championships, the NJCAA Championships. And they'll be playing 11 a.m. today against Butler. So we're going to get a live game day chat with Andrew May before they play, and that game will be 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus. So if you're looking for something to, watch while you're at work, there you go. That'll get you right into the afternoon and through the lunch hour with little hoops. These are meaningful basketball games. I was watching the game on Sunday, and actually I piped it in here in the studio so you could catch a little bit of it, Paulie. This team has the makeup of a national champion. Now they got it. The way they shoot it is incredible. They're shooting north of 50%. They shoot the three at 38% clip. Like, they just shoot it, and they score a lot of points. They're averaging 90 points a game on the season, but they didn't win the SWAC. And so they are the 9 seed. Last year, if you remember, they were the overall number 1 seed, got a bye, and then got bounced on a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
And so, they had the Junior College Player of the Year in Isaac Finlinson out of Dixie High School that's now at the University of Hawaii, and they had an early exit. This team has just reloaded, and we'll see if they got a deep run. And, man, Sean has been – I was watching that game Sunday. Sean's been knocking down shots. I mean, from outside, he is becoming one of the most desirable big men out of the junior college ranks. I think he's the 4th-ranked junior college big man in the country.
Wow.
So he going to get a big NIL deal, and he going to be transferring to a big university. So Sean Phelps, 6'11", out of Crimson Cliffs High School.
Trying to find the list of the top JUCO guys.
Yeah, I saw it floating around the internet the other day. So this is going to be fun. Looking forward to Andrew joining us here in just a few minutes. Show today brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health makes it super easy to get your free testosterone test. You just get an appointment, stop on by. They do everything right there in the office. You don't have to go somewhere else. You don't have to wait for weeks for your results. It's all boom, 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 boom. It won't take you very long at all. So book your appointment for your free testosterone test to see what your T levels are at Game Day Men's Health. And, of course, they've got hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. They do weight loss programs that really work. They do peptides. They do sexual performance products. Everything that you could think of to help men look and feel their best. Game Day Men's Health, man cave environment. Google reviews are there. Take my word for it. You want the best. You want somebody that cares about your health and your overall well-being, and that's what Game Day Men's Health will give you in a controlled environment. So, you know, you're not going to, hey, bro, at the gym, and how much tea you taking?
Yeah.
You need to see an expert, a certified expert, and that's where Game Day Men's Health comes in. GameDayMen'sHealth.com/St. George, or you can call or text for your free T-test, 435-265-4223. You can text them right now and say, hey, I was listening to the fan. Devin told me to text in to get my free T-test. When can you fit me in? When they get in, check their messages. They will get back to you and get you on the appointment book. That number one more time if you want to shoot them a text or call, 435-265-4223. Jazz kept doing what they're supposed to be doing, right, Paulie, last night?
Yes.
They keep losing.
Ace Bailey's been playing really well lately, by the way.
Yeah,
It's good to see that.
I know. It's just, I wish I would have seen it earlier in the year. I know it's a developmental year for the Jazz, and I know it takes years to get good and go through the rebuild.
Over his last 3 games, 31.7 points per game,
Yeah.
7.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 2.7 blocks, and 1.0 steals.
Yeah, he's been better.
He's been really good the last probably 10 games, but the last 3 games, he's
11
been
of 21
fire.
from the floor, and the difference lately is the shot from the distance. He was 70%, 7 out of 10 from the arc last night.
Yeah, he had 37 points. So I
When
think
you
he's
hit
figured out how to
7
score.
3-pointers, that helps.
Yeah.
That's the part of his game that we didn't see early in the season. He wasn't shooting a good. I remember there was a game early in the season. He went 1 for 10 from the 3-point line.
He's the 5th youngest player in NBA history with 3 straight 25-plus games. Only players younger: LeBron, Cooper Flagg, Carmelo, and Devin Booker.
Yeah. Yeah, and look,
So this is what we wanted to see.
And look, the Jazz started Kyle Filipowski, John Cotter, Elijah Harkless, Ace Bailey, and Bez Meng last night.
Yeah.
Sensabaugh and Shibwe came off the bench. Look, they're not playing Keontae George. They're not playing Lowry Marketing. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been shut down. It's kind of fun to think about 3 7-footers with Kessler healthy for his final run next year.
Yeah.
I know they didn't extend his contract yet, but you have a 7-footer in Kessler, Markkanen, and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
And if you put 6'9" Ace Bailey out there with Keontae George, that is a monstrous lineup
That's right.
for the Utah Jazz.
A lot of size.
And look, I'm looking at the San Antonio Spurs, and I'm kind of rooting on them to win the NBA championship. And you know, that made the playoffs since 2017. It takes a while to rebuild. It just takes a while. But Jazz lose 143-127 to the Raptors. Hour 1 of the books. We'll be right back for hour 2 with Andrew May. Welcome back, everybody. It is the Drive, hour one of the books. Here we go, revving up hour two here on the Fan Sports Network inside the Findlay Hyundai Studios. Devin Dixon, Paul Ratliff, Tara Atkin, and now joining us, head coach of the number one team in junior college most of the season this year, the Snow College head coach himself, Andrew May. Andrew, good morning. Thanks for joining us, especially on a game day before you guys get ready to go again out there in the second round in Hutchinson, Kansas in the JUCO Championships, and nice win on Sunday to get you into this game today that will be 11 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN Plus against Butler. But take me through that Trinidad State game. You guys were shooting lights out, Coach.
Yeah, it was a fun game, no doubt. You work all season, guys getting shots up and, working on offense, working on all those things to be able to play well in the national tournament. It was definitely a great feeling for our guys, especially for the guys that were part of our program last year who, we lost on a half court shot at the buzzer. We were advancing to the next round. We were the number one seed overall. And, to have the special season that we had last year to end like that was really obviously disappointment. It was number one on Sports Center that night. So it's been a long year waiting to come back and have an opportunity. And, so for the guys that were part of that last year to be able to come in here and, play the way they did in that very first game was awesome. And, we did a really good job of sharing the ball. We definitely made good decisions, and then obviously got some open shots and guys found some rhythm. And that to me is what this is about. We're watching a whole bunch of teams in the NCAA tournament do that similar thing is, find some rhythm and, just let it rip. We got nothing to lose. And so that was definitely the mentality going into the game. And I think, it paid off really well. One of the biggest things that was, something I'm very proud of is just how the way our guys play together, how unselfishly they play. I believe we set a national tournament record for assists in the game. We had 42 assists on 51 made baskets. So, I mean, that to me just sums up how I want to play. And hopefully it's something that we can continue, the rest of the tournament.
Coach, wanted to ask you about one of our own here from St. George, and that's Sean Feltz. Had a scintillating game for you, 27-12 the last time out. I'm looking at the JUCO recruiting ranks, and he is up to number 19 in all recruits through the JUCO 150. So pretty highly rated kid. Can we get a little intel on his recruiting offers and how he's been playing for you lately?
Yeah, so it's awesome because, being a Crimson Cliffs kid, I saw him, play a few times and I thought he had good potential. We got him in the door and just could see his potential from running and with incredible hands. I mean, the fact that I tell all the Division I coaches I call that like he won a state championship in golf and he's 6'11".
Yeah.
and then I tell him about how I've got videos of him on the high dive in our pool doing gainers and all this stuff that 6'11" guys aren't supposed to be able to do stuff like that. And so he's worked really hard since he got here. He knew he had to put on some weight and he knew that he had to continue to increase his physicality. And I think that's something that he's tried to embrace. And it's really something that the more and more comfortable he gets with that, the more it just translates to the next level. And he's exceptionally skilled. His ability to score around the rim with short quicks and just different finishes. And then also to be able to knock down 10 to 15 footers. And now has stretched his 3-point shooting where he's one of our highest 3-point percentage guys. And that just, in the day and age of basketball, there are not very many 5 men that can score. And Sean, has had games of 28, 27, and against really good teams. One he had against Indian Hills. And so I think he's just scratching the surface of who he can be. And, super proud of the work that he's put in. But, hopefully he's got a lot more to give us here the rest of the week.
Yeah, I've been impressed with his shooting too, Andrew. Right out of the gate against Trinidad on Sunday, he's knocking down threes in your eye. It doesn't matter if it's a 15-footer, a 20-footer, a 24-footer. He looks really confident shooting the basketball right now and a little bit more fluid. Have you changed anything, or you and the coaching staff changed anything mechanics since he got to Snow College versus his high school days?
Not really. for us, shooting is a huge important thing for us. And so we every day do kind of a drill called license to shoot, where guys get opportunities to make shots and prove that they can consistently make shots. And Sean, like one of our very first scrimmages, went like 5 for 6 from three. And so it's something that we know he has the capacity to do. It's more him continue to be confident in those things, and then also just like he can score at I want to say he's top 10 in the country in field goal percentage. At one point he was number 1 in the country in field goal percentage, just because his ability to score around the rim is so high. It's so efficient. And so it's definitely something that he's just more and more comfortable with. And for me, I love guys that can space the floor, and it creates so much offensive spacing that it makes your offense more fluid. And so definitely it's something that Sean, you're open, they sag off you consistently, be aggressive and knock that thing down, and it really helps your offense, no doubt.
If a coach wants him after this season is done, he better back a Brinks truck up to Ephraim, Utah, and get the NIL money ready for Big Sean, because he's coming to town, baby. We saw with Ike Finlinson last year, where he's the junior college player of the U, playing for you, and then he gets a nice deal and goes to Hawaii, and they made the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, no, it's something that at Snow we're always trying to, our job is to help these guys live their dreams. And, a big way we do that is developing them. But then another part of it is just how we try to promote them. It's a big part of the game now that, there's lots of talented players, but not a lot of people know where they are. And we've now kind of established a brand that coaches can trust, that our players are going to be tough. They're going to be coached well, coached hard, so that they're ready to compete and impact at the next level. And no doubt that's been the case with Sean. He's got multiple, offers to play at the next level with some significant NIL opportunities, which is awesome. I mean, it's such a crazy thing for me that most of my players now, they're leaving and making more money than I do in the next season immediately, which is like, but I embrace it. Like that's to me, I love the fact that these guys get those opportunities, because I see all the hard work that they put in, and I'm pretty demanding as a coach as far as expectations to be consistently bringing their best effort, to continue to grind, to continue to improve their games. And it's also that they will get ready for that next spot. And I think, Chance Trujillo down there at Utah Tech,
Yeah.
Isaac Garrett at Oakland, who was, at one point until he hurt his ankle, was projected to be the player of the year in the conference there. Like, all of those things to me are just super motivating for me, but also just a tribute to these guys that embrace coming to Snow and embracing that challenge, and being able to see the dividends and the payoff down the road, when it's definitely challenging, but they stick with it, and eventually they get what they're looking for.
You took over for Coach Nielsen, who was up there a long time. He was the coach and the AD. I know Robbie played for Juddy at Utah Tech here, actually, probably in the Dixie State days. But they love their basketball in Ephraim. I see a coaching vacancy opened up right now. What is your plan? Like, you've done so well out there, Coach, that my mind gravitates to you when I see Jared Calhoun leave Utah State, and I think that's a credit to what you've started to build out there and taken over for Coach Nelson.
Well, I appreciate that, and Coach Nielsen's been huge for me. I was a little hesitant taking the job about, okay, he was the coach here. What's that going to look like? Is he going to try to micromanage my, coaching and all that stuff? And it was the antithesis. It was so exceptionally professional, and 100%. I was the one initiating conversations to try to get 10% of his basketball knowledge and experience. So working with Coach Nielsen, it was just humongous for me, and really developed me to another level as a coach, working for Dave Rose and John Judkins and Todd Phillips at Utah Valley. Like, all those guys really helped my understanding as a coach, and my, coaching skills and so forth. But Rob definitely helped me take it to another level, which I thought was super helpful. And to me, that's kind of the part of being at Snow College. That's a great thing. Is it's a great place to be. We have an opportunity to coach fantastic kids, and we're getting a very talented group of kids that are coming to Snow consistently, that allows us to be able to compete at a high level consistently. And so, just like I talk to my players about the opportunities that come from crushing it here, there's definitely opportunities down the road in the coaching world. Right now, I like everybody is focused on. I hope we win this game today,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so we'll see what the next few weeks look like, all of that. But I mean, Snow's a great place, and there's lots of great coaches out there. It's super. Coaching is a ridiculously competitive business, and so. I just focus on what I can control, which is trying to be the best that I can be with these guys in this moment, and then see where the things shake out down the road. There's, like you said, some opportunities and so forth. We'll see what comes of those, but like I said, today, all I'm caring about is can we handle Butler's press?
There you go.
What was? I mean, you lost a couple battle tested games down the stretch to North Idaho, to College of Southern Idaho. Was that a wake up call a little bit? Can you spin that as a positive now that you've got the 8 seed Butler Community College today out there in Hutch?
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the real differences between this year and last year, obviously last year was the most wins in school history. We were 32-2, but we went 15-0 in our league, and quite frankly, had a couple of close games in that thing, and ran the table through the league, ran the table through the postseason. I mean, we won the championship game by 20 against CSI on our home floor, and then won the district championship by like 14. I mean, like so that stretch was obviously awesome with a really special team, but this team is definitely special in a maybe a little more battle tested way. That last year we got to play CSI twice on our home floor and go to their floor once, and because of the messed up schedule that our league has, because we only have 5 or 6 teams, somebody has to go to the other teams twice. And so we went to CSI twice this year in the regular season. We lost both of them in less than 2 possessions, right? 5 points or so, 4 points in the championship game, and we beat them at our place, right? So like, as far as a battle tested group, I definitely feel like this group has experienced some adversity down the stretch, which to me is a part of my job as a coach, is framing that adversity in a way that's productive, right? Because everybody experiences adversity. Of course, our guys were hoping we're going to go back to back region champions, but the CSI team that's in our league this year is unbelievably better than they were last year. And so we can either see that as like, oh man, we didn't get what we wanted, versus like, this is awesome. We are playing they're the number 2 seed in the tournament. Like, we know that we're one of the best teams in the tournament, but it's, are we prepared and have played at a high enough level against high enough competition that when stuff gets tough, are we going to be able to answer that? And I think we've done a lot of prep to do that, right? Still doesn't mean you're going to go win the thing, but as far as a team that's ready and prepared, I feel like we're as prepared as we can be.
Yeah, Andrew May, our guest here live on the Fan Sports Network, getting ready for today's game against Butler. And Coach, you're doing it with Utah kids. I mean, James Rust is a Timpview kid. Braun Roberts, Timpanogos. Limke, Dixie High. Sean Feltz, Crimson Cliffs. I mean, you've got players from Corner Canyon on your roster and Cedar Valley. And I mean, you do have a couple kids from outside the state of Utah, but 65% of your roster plus is with Utah kids. I mean, you've got a guy on your roster that's not even seeing the floor right now. I don't know if you redshirted him what, but Chamberlain Burgess out of Orem, this guy is going to BYU, and they've stashed him with you, and he's not even playing for you. That's how stacked you are right now, Coach.
Yeah, it's a great thing that we've tried to build, kind of get our talent density as high as we can. We also have a kid, if you know Drake Allen, who's point guard at Utah State, who's a former Badger. His brother was signed at Utah State and had some health issues on the mission and came home early, so he's on our team right now, practicing with our team, redshirting, and so yeah, like our goal the second I got the job was we wanted to win Utah. I believe in the coaching and the talent level in Utah. And, if you look across the history of our state as far as quality of players, I think, especially in a way that fits me, in a way that fits Ephraim, I think that's a huge emphasis. And I think it makes it so our guys naturally, fit together, work together, and have, a cohesion as a team that's really good. And I just think it's a tribute to the really good coaches in our state. And I think, I see my job as taking the fantastic coaching that these guys have done and continue to add to it. And we find guys that win. Easton Hawkins at Lehigh, who's redshirting for us, won a championship. Max Toombs at Corner Canyon, won a state championship. So it's a priority for us. We just signed a couple of Makai Allen, who was the 4A player of the
Yeah.
year.
Wow.
So it's a focus for us, no doubt, because I feel like there's some commitment and buy-in, and I think in the continuity that all of the teams in Division 1 junior college are seeking is really hard to establish. But when we've kind of tried to do our best to win Utah, that continuity has really paid off. Where I have 4 guys that played significant minutes in Hutch last year, returning for this year, and then adding a bunch of talented pieces with them. Now I've got a whole group of guys that are getting Hutch experience this year that hopefully is going to pay off down the road, in the future. But that's definitely what has been our intent, is trying to win Utah as much as we can, find the best players in Utah, and then try to coach them up, develop their games. And I think that's something that's helped our continuity, is that these players see the development that they're getting, and they see the development of the guys in front of them, right? Like my guys from last year saw what Isaac Garrett and Isaac Finlinson, Mark Brown, Chance Trujillo, all those guys were getting as far as opportunities. And so it made it like, look, I'm going to come back and next year I'm going to hit it out of the park. And that's what they've done.
Coach, just wanted to get a sense of your level of pride when you see a Chance Trujillo be a key player on the best Utah Tech team in years. You see Ike Finlinson win a Big West title with Hawaii. And then you've probably got 2 more guys, McCaden Adams and Sean Feltz, going on to big places next year. What level, what sense of pride level does it give you to see these guys do these big things?
Oh, it's not the whole reason I do ever, coaching, as far as like their actual successes on the floor is awesome. I mean, it's more important for me about like how they develop as people, and how they handle adversity in their lives. All that stuff to me is like the real payoff. Like seeing them be successful on the floor is awesome, and it's super exciting for us. But it definitely seeing them develop in their lives and get to a place where they're able to handle the challenges of their lives, to me is like, when I talk about my why as a coach, I saw my dad do that a bunch as a head coach. He coached, for 30 years or so, and seeing the impact he had on these guys' lives is so valuable. And so, no, this year might be our starting point guard Sam Savulich, our backup point guard Blake Barr, whose brother is Brooks Barr, who's going to BYU. Both of them have Division 1 offers. McCaden Adams has multiple Division 1 offers. Brock McClure, our starting 3-man, has probably 12 Division 1 offers. Our starting 4-man, Aaron Bliss, has multiple D1 offers, 4 or 5. And then Sean, like we talked about. And then we had a kid named Bron Roberts, who is a 7-footer, tore his ACL middle of the season. He has about 7 or 8 Division 1 offers. So really, like, helping these guys get those opportunities is just super cool for them. And I think what also makes them special is they all celebrate each other's success. Like when one guy gets an offer, everybody's reposting it on social media, because they know the more eyes come and check out our team, the better it is for everybody. And so I think that's one of the special things of our culture here, is that this is not an individual sport, and it's none of us get the success individually, right? Like our administration, our president, our support staff, all that stuff goes into our success, and that's something that hopefully we can keep going.
Yeah, this is Andrew May hanging out with us. Of course, the Region 9 guys on the roster right now: Sean Feltz, Kyle Limke. He had a good game the other night, too, had 12 points and some boards. Jordy Roberts also on the roster, but he's redshirting due to an injury right now. So you've got 3 Region 9 kids on the roster. And, Coach, I'm sure you're looking, and you were paying close attention to the last state tournament and the Region 9 season. I'm sure there's 3 or 4 other kids you're considering bringing up to Snow College in the future.
No doubt. The St. George is that hidden gem that luckily I have roots to, and know that there's talented kids down there, and no doubt there's going to be kids in the future for us. Obviously, I can't talk about individuals that haven't signed with us, but there's, to me, like we talked about, great coaches down there and super competitive games night in and night out that are in packed houses and all that makes it so much fun. And so it's definitely something if I'm in the state of Utah, I'm definitely checking out and keeping my eye on what's happening down there in St. George, because there's great coaches, great level of play, and it makes me happy when those guys get more and more opportunities in the future. So it's awesome.
Undefeated at home, number one most of the year, 29-4 overall, playing the 8 seed Butler. Now, because you guys ended up the 9 seed, is the pressure off a little bit, not being the 1 seed this year and being the 9 seed because you got an at-large bid and didn't win the Region 18 championship?
Yeah, great question. Because they have 24 teams, the top 8 teams get a bye. And so being the 9 seed in some way is a exceptional draw, because you get to play the 24 seed, which is the lowest seed in the tournament, and I always try to remind people, like, the difference between our tournament and the national like NCAA tournament is when we play the 8 seed in our tournament, we're really talking about playing the 2 seed, right? There's 4 number 1 seeds and 4 number 2 seeds. Well, they're the 8th team in the tournament, right? So we're playing a number 2 seed the first round. And so as far as not being the number 1 team, all that stuff, I just more enjoyed the fact that we were able to get a game in Hutch, get our feet wet. I mean, obviously see the ball go in the hole a few times at a high level. And so it just makes it so, hey, we're ready to roll. And, we get to play a team today that the thing is, they've already played in this gym because they're in this league of that Hutchinson, Kansas is in. So, I don't really concern myself very much in, like, okay, what's the perfect seeding and perfect route? It's that stuff I can't control. It's definitely, can we, take advantage of the opportunity that we have and take advantage of the opportunity that we have. And so that's obviously the plan today is this Butler team's a challenge. They press almost the entire game. They trap everything in the half court. Anytime you ball screen, they're coming to trap. So it's going to be a fun challenge for our guys. If we're able to handle that pressure well, I think we got a really good chance, to score consistently, as long as we take care of the basketball. It's such a fun, unique style that everybody plays basketball in different ways. This is a way that you don't see a ton at Division One, except back in the old UNLV Rebels days of Tarkanian, right, is where they trapped everything and so forth. And so this will be a fun challenge for our guys.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Of course, CSI's out there. Howard's the 1 seed. And, of course, Snow College taking on Butler today, 11 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN+. Coach, so excited for you and your guys. Go get a dub today. 128 points on Sunday. Go get 128 more points. I think you'll be just fine and moving on. And thanks for carving out some time for us on a game day before a big matchup with Butler.
No, appreciate you guys, and all the support, and the way you highlight the guys down there, and the just the work you're doing is awesome. So just really appreciate you having me on, but also for all you do to help the kids down there in St. George, Washington County is awesome. So
I love it. Thank you, Coach Andrew May. Everybody, Snow College, tune in today. Maybe put on it on your computer at the office, or pop it on your phone if you're rolling around the job sites. ESPN Plus, Butler. They're about an hour away. That campus is about an hour away from Hutch, so they should have a pretty lively crowd there. So Snow will be probably favored in that game because they spent most of the year number 1, but that's kind of a home game for Butler, so to speak. But you want to watch some alumni of Region 9 and see some fun basketball. I watched the game on Sunday, and I was just stoked to see the way Coach coaches them up and the way they score the basketball. It is a fun brand of basketball to watch. All right, we got to get to a break. A lot of fun talking with Andrew May. We'll be back in a flash. Lots more coming up when we come back on The Drive on the Fan Sports Network. Hopefully we got some extra people in St. Joe. I know the rivalry days between Snow College and Dixie College were alive and well. But now that, Dixie's moved on to D2 and now to Division I find myself rooting for Snow College and Andrew May. He's such a nice guy. Like, I really got to know him when he was here as an assistant with John Judkins, and I think he has done a fantastic job at Snow College, taking over for Robbie Nelson and rolling with it and taking that program to new heights. I know they're the 9 seed, and they would have to play Howard if they beat Butler today, who's the overall number 1 seed. But 4 more wins in there. They're national champs, and it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if Andrew May and the Snow College team won the JUCO national championship. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. And he's looking for Utah kids, Paulie.
Yeah.
He can win with Utah kids.
That's right. He's looking for them, and he's found a few. So let's see which ones he gets this year.
Speaking of Utah kids, the Des News just put their all-state out.
Yeah, I
and
saw this.
3 Region 9 kids make first team All-State. And those 3 kids include Brigham Kemp, Hurricane High. There was a little controversy there because he ended up not getting the Region 9 championship. It was the vote that was really close or tied, and they went with Travis Murdoch with Crimson Cliffs. Everybody saw what he did in the state tournament, getting Hurricane into the state championship game and putting that team on his back and doing everything he could to will them to a state title. Also, Colin Simmons and Jelani Ojegba. So 3 of the 6 first teamers in 4A hail from Region 9, Paulie. That's pretty cool for Region 9.
Cool. Yep, absolutely cool.
Yeah. And I think that was the big argument that a lot of Hurricane fans were frustrated with. Is like, look, Brigham Kemp's going to be first team All-State.
Yeah.
And yet he's not our Region 9 MVP.
Yes.
And look, there's a lot of different ways that you could do a vote. You could do a point system. You could bring in some media, to break any ties. Like, there's a lot of different things you could do to improve the way that we vote. We used to do our own all-region awards and stopped doing it a couple years ago for a couple reasons. One, it was a no-win situation. People were confused on which list was ours and which was the coaches. So we stopped doing them, and now we just put out and report what the coaches' vote is.
Yes.
I almost wish it was almost like our media day where we had the coaches' votes combined with the media votes. I think that would be really cool to have more votes to because I think in most years, I remember a couple years ago, Kyle Lemke, who was playing for Snow, the coaches voted as the MVP, and Dixie had the best team. They won region. But our MVP was Owen Mackey.
Yes.
Because he was dynamic and he led all the region in scoring and both are great players. They're going to have great collegiate careers. Kyle's starting his already and sophomore out there at Snow, and obviously Owen Mackey's getting back from his mission and going to be playing for Juddy at Utah Tech. So pretty excited to see the all-state accolades for some of our local players. What stood out when you saw the list, Paul?
The first team specifically, Jelani gets on there. Love that for him, and Simmons. Kemp, I knew was going to be on there. So those other 2, not surprised, but I guess pleasantly, I guess. Just objectively, I thought maybe we would get 1 more guy, but getting 2 more Region 9 guys, pretty cool for the first team. The second team, no Region 9 guys, not one that consists of on that team. But then on the third team, third team, you get Travis Murdoch and Reggie Mackey. So a lot of guys represented throughout our region. So I thought it was good. I thought that Brigham Kemp probably should have been the player of the year in our region by the coaches' vote, but it wasn't. And this kind of shows that at least around the state, the perception was that Kemp, Simmons, and Ojegba more worthy of that award potentially.
Yeah, and I think what coaches go to vote, I think they look at when they're looking at an all-region vote specifically, if I was a coach, this is how I would look at it. I would say, what did that guy do against me? How hard was it for me as a coach to prepare to defend and score on that guy? And so that's the equation I would look at if I was having a vote in something like that. The girls came out too. Talissa Nelson of the state champ Green Canyon. You know, she had the big knee brace on. She had the concussion compression.
The little ring thing around her neck.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is your MVP. Makai Allen was a Provo, the boys' MVP.
Yes.
Talissa Nilsson, the girls' MVP. But first team girls, Izzy Hollingshead of Dixie, Addie Winters of Dixie, both make first team. Second team, Gabby Gomez of Cedar, Ella Fia of Pineview, Reese Guston also of Pineview, and they had a really good run in the state tournament. And Reese is going to go play for her dad, JD, at Utah Tech next year. Or later this fall, actually. Also, Miley Villanueva of Desert Hills made the third team. And Braley Chesley and Fallon Randall of Snow Canyon make honorable mention.
Nice.
Along with Kalia Schlenker and Tess Peterson. So kind of cool to see some of the girls get some accolades for All-State.
That is awesome.
As well. Tara, were you All-State at anything in high school?
No.
Paulie, were you All-State at anything in high school?
Nope.
No? Gotcha.
Never was.
Gotcha.
Can't say I was, but I'd be lying.
Yeah. By the way, Olympus's Gavin Lowe was named a repeat Deseret News Mr. Basketball.
Nice.
He's actually, you know, I was like, oh, how many repeat winners have we had? I don't remember a lot of them. He's actually the fourth two-time winner in the 40-year history of the award.
Wow.
So 4 times.
That's pretty big time.
So he won the award as a junior last year and did it again as a senior this year. So I never got to watch him play live. Have you seen him play at all, Paulie?
I don't think so. I'm kind of looking him up, like his profile on 247 right now, just to see what his
accolades are,
maybe next level aspirations
he helped
are.
Olympus go 25-2 this season. He averaged 24.4, 5.5 rebounds, 5.6 assists, and 3.4 steals per game. He averaged 1 more 3-pointer per game than a year ago and nearly 2 less turnovers per game. So certainly there was improvement in those statistical categories for
good year for him.
Mr.
Yeah, and
Basketball.
he's committed to the Anteaters of UC Irvine, so that's where he'll be headed next.
Which is a great Big West
Big
school.
West
Are they
school,
staying in the Big West?
I believe they are,
Okay.
yes. He's 5'11", 160, so hard commit as of July of last year. So he's been with the Anteaters for a while. Good for him.
We never get a Mr. Basketball out of Region 9. It's always a 5A or a 6A team. It's kind of a Northern Utah award, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Like, Colin Chandler won it a few years ago. He's now playing for Pope out of Kentucky. We saw him get bounced out of the tournament. I remember Rylan Jones, the baby-faced assassin.
I think so, yes.
Ryland,
yes.
Yeah, he started his career up in Cache Valley and then transferred to Olympus.
Yeah.
Jackson Brenchley, Ridgeline, Frank Jackson, Lone Peak.
Yeah, I remember
TJ
Frank.
Hawes in 2014 was Mr. Basketball.
BYU, right.
The year before that, Nick Emery, BYU.
Yeah.
Yep. Kyle Collinsworth from Provo back in 2010.
Frank Jackson was Duke, though, I think, correct?
Yeah.
He went to Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tyler
Most of those guys,
Hawes,
Cougars.
also Lone Peak, won it. Jackson Emery. I mean, you can go way back in the day. Alex Jensen, now the coach of the Utah Utes, won it in 1994. He was voted Mr. Basketball by the Des News when he played at Viewmont High.
Nice.
Sean Bradley, in the third year of the award in 1989, was named Mr. Basketball out of Emory. He is probably, by far and away, the only small-town school guy to win this award. Sean Bradley Emory, that would have been, what, a 2A, 1A school back then? In 1989,
yeah,
he would have been playing against Ridgefield in that state championship game that is historic. Dallin Hall won it in 2020. We saw him playing point guard for Odom in Virginia this year.
Sure, yeah. Dallin Hall's a good player, played BYU, then in Virginia, had a good year for the Cavaliers.
Yep. So go check out the all-state stuff, boys, girls, all the way through 6A. It's all up and out now on the Des News. And shout out to our first team all-state boys and girls from Region 9. You had Addie Winters and Izzy Hollingshead from Dixie on the girls' side, first team All-State. And then you had 3 in the boys' side, Brigham Kemp, Jelani Ojegba, and Colin Simmons. So we get 5 first-team All-Staters out of Region 9 boys and girls basketball.
Wow.
And a bunch more, honorable mention, second team, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, got to take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up, get you ready for the day in sports. I wanted to talk about which coach do you trust the most moving into the Sweet 16. We'll talk about that next. It's The Drive. Show today brought to you by our friends at Zag. Protect it better. Get screen protectors that come with a lifetime warranty. And they got 2 St. George and 1 Cedar City location. Don't zig. Just Zag. Show also brought to you by Prime IV. I highly suggest if you're fighting allergies this spring like I have been, go get that Myers cocktail. Add some glutathione, some vitamin D, and it'll help clear up your allergies in a snap. Super powerful drips. They also have the Eden Head and Foot Spa now inside Prime IV. I can't wait to try that. I'm going to try that one of these days, and we'll tell you more about that. You can check that out as well. Prime IV STG.com. Check them out. Tell them the guys and girls on the Fan Sports Network told you to stop on by. That's PrimeIVSTG.com. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back on a Tuesday. Thank you for locking us in, loading us up. 8:42, terrific day. Weather's going to be great to get out and do it. And hope you have a blessed day, Devin, Tara, and Paulie. We love our sponsor show every day, brought to you by Zag, Coral Canyon Golf Course, Game Day Men's Health, Prime IV, One Health St. George, And, of course, our friends at Soda Weight Loss, and it all happens out of the Findlay Hyundai Studios. Paulie, what's the latest with Soda Weight Loss as you're continuing this journey to let go of a few pounds?
Absolutely. Feeling better, looking better, feeling like you're stuck on the bench while your health sits on the sidelines this spring. It's time to get in the game. Like me, join Soda Weight Loss right now, and your partner joins for free. 2 full transformations for the price of one. And in just 90 days, drop 20, 30, even 40 pounds. No shots, no drugs, and most importantly, no hunger. Just real food, one-on-one coaching from licensed nutritionists, and habits that score big for a lifetime. Thousands of success stories, nearly 9,000 5-star reviews on Google. Don't wait for the next season. Start your winning streak today. Call now or visit sodaweightloss.com, 866-800-SOTA, because short-term effort delivers long-time results. Soda Weight Loss.
Get in it and let go of a few pounds. Thank you,
That's
Paulie.
right.
Soda Weight Loss. That's the place to start if you're. And it's swimsuit season almost in the STG,
Yes,
isn't it?
almost.
I mean,
Yep.
not a better day to start than right now. Okay. I want to get into this coaching stuff for a second. I do want to thank Wilkinson's and Jimmy John's, a couple of our other supplemental sponsors on the show. Don't forget, when you're out to local spring sports games, we want your local highlights. We had the 5th grade Hurricane junior jazz team win the highlight of the month for February last month. It was a half-court shot. Did you see it, Paulie?
I did.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's pretty cool.
And of course, we gave a $100 Jimmy John's gift card to who submitted that, and they're going to get food for the squad, compliments of your local Jimmy John's.
Yes.
I wanted to talk coaching. Who do you trust heading into the Sweet 16? The rules on this, you cannot trust more than 4 coaches. This is your top 4. This is your fab 4. These are fantastic 4. This is the 4 coaches that you think you trust the most to make the Final Four. That's how I'm looking at this conversation. Fair?
That's fine. Yep,
Paulie's,
that works.
who is your first coach you're putting into your trust circle, your circle of trust?
I think it's kind of cliche because everyone kind of trusts this guy. When you fill out brackets, everyone's got him going deep for the most part. But as a 3 seed this year, I didn't think they were going to make this run, but good for Izzo and Michigan State. I think he is the most trustable coach. He at one time could have stated, if you stayed with me for 4 years, you would have played in at least one Final Four, because he went to like 8 in like 10 years. So it's crazy the amount of production he had. He's only won 1 national title. I know that. But if this is to make the Final Four, Izzo has made the Sweet 16 17 times in his career. He's been 2 wins away 17 times. So I'll take him as the most trustable coach.
He will go in my Fab 4 as well, 100%. I trust Tom Izzo. The 3-seeded Spartans have been in control the whole way. The win over Louisville last Saturday. They routed North Dakota State in the opener. This team maybe doesn't have the most high-end talent, but it dominates and wins in all the statistical categories with smart, tough, heady players to win their one-on-ones, to win their position battles. They might be the best rebounding team left in the field, which I think is a very important statistic. They're number 1 in defensive rebound rate, and they're a top 10 team in offensive rebounding. And they've got Jeremy Fears Jr., who is the clear star of this team, who is an all-time playmaker, and he's the best in America in assist rate, and he's got 27 more assists in his first 2 tournament games. 27, so he can share the rock. So I trust Izzo as well. You got Izzo in, Tara?
I do, yeah. He's actually number 2.
Number 2,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. I'm also going to put in Tommy Lloyd, and this is going to be a little bit controversial because Tommy Lloyd has proved nothing.
Yeah, the
but
furthest he's ever been, Sweet 16.
But Arizona plays smash mouth basketball.
Yeah.
They've been smashing their way from the very start of the season.
King of the early exit.
They got a
Tommy Lloyd.
7-2 junior center in Krivas.
I don't believe in him at all.
They've got a round of 32 win over Utah State.
These are his players. What about the guy that's never coached a team past the Sweet 16?
This is why I said it's going to be very controversial. I'm putting Tommy Lloyd in because I think Tommy Lloyd is cutting down the nets, and my confidence in this Arizona team is sky high, and he's the guy that steers the ship.
Yep. I got Cal
You are
taking them
going to
down.
eat so much crow if Arizona wins it all. You are going to be sleeping outside on the strip for a week and shaving your head and losing every bet under the sun because
That's
Arizona, Tommy Lloyd, feels to me like a magical championship
Felt
season.
that way before. He's been a 1 seed before.
Koa Pete.
Been a 2 seed before. Had great seeds. Never been past
Burries.
the second weekend.
Bradley, the Big 12 Player of the Year.
Which
I don't
is a
know.
travesty, by the way, that he won that award and not DeBonza. But all
That
right.
was actually another bad one. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, travesty.
I
You
mean,
lead the nation in scoring and you don't even win the
And you don't win
Conference
it.
Player of the Year. He might win Naismith Player of the Year.
why didn't he win it? So who didn't vote for him?
I don't know.
You don't know. So, but you're spouting off like
they
you know.
did the best player on the best team bit, which is terrible at
Yeah.
the college level. So I
Brigham
hated
Camp
that.
and AJ can, you know.
Both of them, yes.
They're in the same camp.
Yeah.
I'm putting Tommy Lloyd in my circle of trust.
All right, I'm not putting him in mine.
I know you're not.
I'm
I
gonna
know
go
you're
with
not. I
a
knew
guy
that
that's-
going in.
I'm gonna
you don't
do-
like Arizona. You've documented that, stamped it, crossed your T's, and dotted your I's a million times.
That's right. And it would bring
And
me
you're gonna be
it would bring me so much joy.
It'll be
because
it's
everyone's
going to bring
dogging
me
on
so
my
much
bracket.
joy when you're chanting Tommy, national
Yeah.
champ, Tommy, national champ. You're
I'm
going to be
sure.
eating so much crow, bro.
I'm sure because I still think just because my champ's out, Arkansas can
Oh,
still.
imagine that. Big Mouth's got his champ out already.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, yours is going out this weekend, so we'll see. We'll
Could
see.
go out. I heard that
Yes.
earlier. Could.
No,
There's a
will
caveat.
go out. I've changed my stance. Will go out.
Yeah, well, it's changing daily,
Oh, it
so I
went
can't.
back,
I'm getting whiplash
He's
from
very
your stance.
confident. Yeah, it's all right.
Who are you
Yeah.
putting in?
I'm putting in Kelvin Sampson.
That's my
who's
number
been
one.
to 2021 Final Four, 2025 national runner-up. They lost in a heartbreaker, obviously, to Florida. 2-time AP Coach of the Year in the country. I think this guy knows how to coach. He knows how to get the most out of his players in the biggest moments.
Yep.
Will they be able for once to make shots in the Final Four? That's what I hope for him. I of all the coaches that could win this year, I think I'd most want to see Kelvin do it. So I believe in him too. He's the number 2 coach on my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got him in as well. I agree. Kelvin has to be in your Fab Four. Although I do worry about the scoring droughts with Houston. Their defense is unbelievable. That's
Yeah.
been well documented. I do worry in a big time matchup, if they are not consistently scoring, that they could be beatable. But this team with their defense can beat anybody.
Yes.
This is a really interesting team with the Final Four in Houston.
Yes.
It seems destined that they would make it and have like home court advantage, does it not?
It seems like this could maybe be the year for Houston.
Yeah.
With Florida in their region out, the toughest team they'd probably have to play is Illinois at this point.
I am putting next in my circle of trust. You're not gonna like this one again.
Oh no.
I am gonna put Mr. Nate Oates from Alabama in.
Yeah, that's,
I trust Nate.
All right.
Bama looks so good right now.
Yeah. All right.
Nate the Great.
Nate the Great.
Nate is second best player out because he's got a pound of weed in his apartment or whatever.
And he's still winning. And he's still
winning
winning.
for now.
Oh,
He beat a Texas Tech team without JT Toppin and some other Akron
I
or
know,
something.
I told you you're not going to like it.
I didn't love it. Yeah,
but this is my list. I can do whatever I
I
want.
get it. You got Tommy Lloyd and Nate Oates, who
Yes.
have been to a combined total of 0 Final Fours, or
Correct.
maybe 1. I don't remember.
Dude, this is not who do you trust over the years of seasons gone by. This is who do I trust this season, Paulie.
Okay.
Live in the present for once for yourself.
All right.
Stop going back to the past on everything as your crutch to make an argument. Well, they've never made a Final Four. What if they make a Final Four this year? Did
This
you
is
trust
who
Nate
you-
Oates?
this is
Then
who- this
would
is
you
who you
trust
trust.
Nate? I trust Nate
This
Oates.
is not-
I would put Rick
Miss-
Barnes before Nate Oates.
This is not putting misplaced
I told you
faith
you're not
and
gonna like
hoping
it.
for a run.
I told you you're not gonna like it.
This is going off of guys that have done it before and who you trust.
That's
Like,
not the preface of this
right,
conversation.
well, I'm
this
not
is
putting
who
Nate Oates.
coaches I trust to make the Final Four.
I'll go Dan Hurley as my other one. So, yes, he's won 2 national championships back-to-back. He's got a great program, great team.
You're so chalky with this. Kelvin Sampson, Dan, like this is the boring list you've got.
Well, you're just throwing oddballs out there who've
I'm
never done
throwing
anything.
coaches in that I think are going to the Final Four. Did
Kevin
you listen
Young.
to the context? This is guys we trust to take their team to the Final Four this season. I said
Yeah.
it before the segment started.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
So you don't have Tommy Lloyd in
No.
Arizona going to the
or
Final
Nate
Four?
Oates, no.
All right. I think Nate Oates can upset Dusty May in Michigan.
Okay, we will see. It's a
Well,
9.5 point number.
I'm not
Why is
allowed.
nobody even talking Duke? Is like
John
John,
Shire.
like in John we trust, or is that only the one John?
That's
from
only
Seattle?
John Schneider,
Oh, dang,
not
okay.
John Shire.
Not John. Well, they're pretty close.
pretty
so,
close.
yeah.
But
Well-
not a lot of us are talking about Duke. But
Well,
yeah,
that's because
Shire.
we all put Izzo in, and they play in the same region, and
Yeah.
so you can't. I mean, one of them's going to lose and not reach the Final Four.
Well, Izzo plays Hurley, so I've got two guys playing each other, but I still trust both
So
of them more
again,
than
you didn't
Lloyd.
listen to the
Yeah.
context of the segment. Shocking news on the
Yes,
show this morning.
Shocking news.
This is our
You got the
trust
breaking
meter.
news.
The circle
Sounder?
of trust, and Paulie, you're outside of it.
You got the breaking news sounder.
The breaking news. I did find it. It was a day late, but here we go.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Breaking news. You're welcome.
So I got Izzo.
Yeah.
I got Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah.
I got Nate Oates.
All right. Those
And,
are
we
your
all, and I got
boys.
Kelvin Sampson.
Okay.
Those are my four.
All right. You don't trust Kelvin because
and
you've got Illinois beating him in your bracket.
Well, I have 9 brackets.
Yeah, you're right.
I have
You got
9
nine
brackets.
different combinations.
That's
I forgot.
a loaded conversation piece.
Okay.
But that's in the office pool bracket.
Yeah.
To be, that's not the one we talk about on the show. So now you're bringing up stuff we don't talk about. See how you do that?
That's why you're out of the circle of trust.
Out.
Yeah, you're.
I'm out of the trust tree.
You know, who I did want to put Brad Underwood in, and you know who else I wanted to put in? I wanted to put Dusty Mann, and I wanted to
like
put
all these
I
up and
wanted to put
upstart
TJ
guys.
Overhauser in there too from Iowa State.
Man.
Yeah,
Otzelberger
you want
is
to
his
go
name.
with whiny cheesehead Dan Hurley, who whines more than anybody in college basketball.
Maybe there's a method to his madness. He gets a
why
lot
don't
of calls.
Why don't you just go Izzo, Calipari, and then put in Kelvin Sam? Just put in all the four that have coached the longest. Like we should have just done. Hey, who's coached the longest in college basketball? That's on Paul's list.
Doesn't tenure mean anything? Doing it over a long period of time, doesn't that mean anything? Consistency, getting to the tournament over and over and over.
If we would have set the segment up with that context, yes. But I said, these are the 4 coaches you trust the most to take your team to the Final Four. Did I not say that in the preface?
I trust Calipari more than Tommy Lloyd.
That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But again, the context of the segment was who do you trust to take your team to the Final Four? You got guys that are in the same region you trust the most. Well, they can't go to the Final Four. You already botched the segment.
Okay. Well, how about this? I'll rewire the segment. If Cal beats if Arkansas beats Arizona, then your bracket's toast, and I will. That's the one I'll hang my hat on. Patino and Cal.
Okay.
One of them's winning this weekend. St. John's or Arkansas.
Winning one of them
is
is
winning
twice.
them. No, they're beating Duke or Arizona. That's going to happen this weekend.
We got a whole nother show tomorrow
We'll see.
to hear what Paulie thinks about who's beating
My
who.
bracket's busto, so it's
Go
time for the upsets, baby.
Yeah, prediction Paulie. Take his picks and run the skeet. It's a lock, baby. You guys have been fun. We'll see you tomorrow back here, always free on the drive, 7 to 9 on the Fan Sports Network.